So for this coloring process, I'll choose Copic Markers because this is just easier for me to explain. First, I'm just going to show you the different style of coloring them based on the actual drawing style that I've used. So you can see here there's the manga style. This is more like an illustrative style of loose hair, and this is more like realistic. So every step is more detailed. So when you're coloring, you can go both. You can go two ways. First ways is stayed on like closer to the drawing style. You have like really simplified hairlines, so you're just going to do like a really simplified coloring. Or else you can like do the opposite way, and when you have a really simple hairline like this, go on a really realistic and detailed coloring process. So it's just it's just your choice. You can just practice with it and have fun. I really often like to draw, like when I draw manga illustration, I always do a really realistic hair, and when I do realistic illustration, I like to do more simplified coloring. But this is just your choice. Just do what you like. I'm just going to go and start off with the loose hair and how to color manga hair. For this particular tutorials, this is the color range that I will use. I will just use, for the manga hair here, I'm using E21, which is baby skin pink. I will use then E33, which is the sand color, one of my most used one. I will go ahead with the E25 Carib Cocoa, and then what it is, E29 Burnt Umber, and the last and the darker one, E49 Dark Bark. So I've selected 5 colors for the hair, but usually when I color, I found out that I don't really use many colors. And when you draw like manga coloring, you usually I think you don't really use that amount of color. You probably just need like 2 or 3 of them, but that just depends on what you like. So I'm just going to go with the manga coloring. One thing that I really that is really important when you draw with manga is keep it really simple and think about the basic shape, I guess. So I'm just going to start off with the E21 for like the really lightest part of the drawing. And well, you know, when you draw like the little gleam on the air, basically in real life they don't have this little ring of reflection that doesn't work in real life. But when you draw manga, it's really often to have really sharp ring reflection on the air. So let's do this with just the baby skin pink. I don't really use white as the light parts, but you can use it if you want. I'm just going to use the baby skin pink. So just coloring like really flat motion. Just don't bother like how it's gonna look, because you're just going to go all of it. So you have your lightest spot. You can add this a bit here, but I think it may look a bit weird. But if you want, you can add this on the side also. Then you grab your other markers. This is the E33, and when you draw manga, I don't really draw and color manga style, but you're just going to repeat this process. Go really like flat, flat way of coloring, basically. I tend to do like this little flicking motion and follow the airline and the air strokes, because this is something that I really do quite often. But if you don't want to do it, basically you just do like what you want, but you just have to picture this like really simple and don't think too much about the hair strokes. Yeah, I will not go like on the skin and the the face because I'm just going to focus on the hair, but this is pretty ugly, I'm sorry. Then you're just going to take like your basic color again. You can flat this a bit. Also, if you want really like a sharp edge, you can work with like a really round motion like this under the shape of the hair. Then you take your E25 and focus on really like sharp shadows. I don't know if you can hear it. My cat is yawning at the door. Like this. It's okay if you just go like all over it. Don't really bother about this. Just keep it really simple. Then you can just add a darker color behind. Like this. And take your little burnt umber and go really like strongly. You just have to define the light source. If you have any questions about like the light source and how to like decide the colors and all of this, just tell me and ask me below. Any question, any kind of stuff you want to ask, feel free to do it. And you have a pretty simple manga, kind of ugly, sorry, because I did this quite fast, but you get the idea. You have your basic color, like really flat reflection on the top, and then just go slowly all around it with like really thick chunk of hair, and basically I just follow the line art that I just made. Then to the illustrative style, which is one of my most used one. What it is? This one. I'm just going to use the exact same color for this, so you can really see the difference. I'm just going to put the manga one here. When you do the like more illustrative way, don't go like with the flat round ring reflection. You have like reflection all over your hair, everywhere. So you put your lightest color everywhere onto your drawing like this. You then take your E33 and you're going to draw and follow each line that you just made. Follow like the motion that you made when you draw the lines before. You see, like this. Keep it simple, so you don't like really need really big details unless you want them, but for like more illustrative hairstyle, this is just how it works. It's sometimes can be tricky to really keep the little the lightest colors, but it just gives yeah, you just need a bit more practice if you don't really if you sometimes mess up with keeping the lightest colors like this. Then you take a darker color and go always really light on the touch. Little flicking motion again. Think about the under layers because they are darker. Try to bring some of it like forward or backwards, like framing the face. Don't put too much darker colors like on the front line, on the front area, because they tend to like be poof. It tends to be like poofy hair if you do that. So yeah. Think in 3 dimensions. Like this. You see the difference between like the manga and the illustrative way? Then you're going to get a darker color and like really focus on a few hair strokes, like some in some areas, like this, it's really hard to work on this size of paper, but I just wanted to do like a quick example on how to color hair. If you want a really precise, strong, detailed coloring process, just ask me and I will do it. Sometimes you can just go back with like another markers to really enhance a bit some areas like this quickly, and the darker is always what I've used like for just the back of the neck. Yeah, and you see the difference like with the manga and a bit more illustrative. It's just, you can also like add the really like thick line if you want, just to enhance a bit and to like really focus a bit more on the reflection, and you get the basic idea of this. And the last one is the like realistic hair. Basically it's kind of the same, so it's just going to follow like really each drawing line. So always go with like your flat light color, and get with a bit yeah, just really slowly focusing on each line. And this is why it's really hard on this size of paper, because I can't really draw every line, but you get the idea. Each line of the hair. Like this. And always working the flicking motion. And yeah, and always think about the under layers. Keep in mind that some hair, yeah, you know, some hair are in front of them, in front of another. Yeah, think in 3 dimension, like I said. And you grab another darker marker and you go over the darkest spot that you want. And if you have any more questions like on how to select the darkest spot, you should check my how to shade in black and white, because this is a really nice practice if you don't really know how to select your yeah, your hair strokes. Basically, you don't know where it's going to be really darker or lighter than yeah, just Google, sorry, just click here. You can see that what I'm talking about when I say like select the darkest spot and think in 3 dimension. So this is how it works basically. You just, when you want to like draw something, you just like really work simplified or really precise. And you go again with a darker marker, and this is where you're going to be really hard to work with little strokes of hair, because the paper is really small. That you get the idea. Well, I will not use the last one because it's going to be really messy, but you get the idea, I think. You know, there's 3 steps of coloring hair, and well, I think the best one is the last one for me, because I don't really like manga way of drawing hair, and I'm not really good at it. So if you just confused on how to draw and color hair with manga, just search other videos, because I'm not really used to this, but you get the idea. So yeah, this is like for the 3 basic way of coloring hair, and I think that's it for this part. And the one last thing that I wanted to show to you is how to color ponytails and how to color braids. So coloring with Copic markers. So you can see here I've got the back of the head, a face view, and a profile side view. And this one is a bit more manga-ish. This here is a bit more realistic, and this is more illustrative. This is the basics. The same way I've showed this to you. You see, this is realistic. This is more illustrative. This is more like manga. Every time you are coloring with Copic markers, you are layering more colors, and you are following the basic lines that you just made. So I'm just going to start off with another color range for this realistic pink hair. So for this here, the little braids here, and the ponytail, the side ponytail that I just made. sorry, you can see that I draw a lot of lines. And if you don't want to have like black lines on your drawings, you can definitely just sketch them and work directly with Copic markers. Yeah, just for this tutorial, it's gonna be easier for me just to work and like being based on the lines that I just made. So for this part here, I will just use this color range that I made with RD02, RD02, RD23, RD25, RD29, and RD67. So let's go with a realistic way of coloring. So just always picture like your light source. So for this example, I will just assume that the light source comes from this side. So all of these areas is going to be darker and all of these areas is going to be lighter. So my light color is going to be on this side. And one thing that is really important with Copic markers is that if you don't have to like put this color all over your drawing, because you're going to saturate and like put ink onto the paper and inside the paper that you don't really need, because this part here is not going to be light pink, it's going to be dark pink. So just focus your like lightest color on the light parts of the drawings. You know, basically this is around here, a bit on the ponytails here. My marker is kind of blending a bit, sorry. Like this, and I'm just going to do the done in the same at the same time. So for this example, let's say it comes from like the front, well, kind of the back now, but just directly like a direct light like here. So all of this is going to be light. Okay, then you take another marker, and like I say, you're just following every line that you just made. Try to keep some light touch, flicking motion. Try to keep some light parts, and yeah, and following your dynamic, always following the flow of it. And when you draw with Copic markers, you have to be pretty quick. Sometimes I know it's gonna be it may be hard and maybe tricky, maybe scary to draw fast, but it really gives much more results. My liner is bleeding through, but this is why I never do the line first. But yeah, so when you draw braid, when you coloring braid, remember when I told you follow the lines and follow the dynamic? It's always going to be darker in the middle and on this side, especially like when you tug your hair here. This is where it's really darker, like this, you see. Then we're going to take another pen, a darker one, and follow like near the lines, and also especially like near the elastic areas and under the ponytails. You know, just think about 3-dimensional. Always think about in 3 dimensions. Think about the hair layers. Think about the light source, when it comes from. Think about the hair textures. Well, you have a lot of things to think about, but once you get used to it, it's pretty easy to remember how this works. This is how you're creating depth in a drawing, and this is why it's really important to really prepare your sketch and really think about how it's going to look, and really prepare your colors. This is why I really like to work with a really color range that is ready, because it gives it way much like easier to work and colored, and the coloring process is way easier when you do this. You see, pinky hair, like this, and we're going darker now. And you know, I just use like a really vivid colors. You can always like change the color family, or work with grays if you want, instead of coloring undertones. Sorry. But yeah, so this is just, if you want the tutorials on how to really choose colors, just ask me, so I will do like a separate ones. Sorry. But yeah, this is just at your own choice. Sometimes it's really nice to change your color family because it gives a lot of depth in the drawing, but I don't do it like all the time, but I think it's nice. You know, instead of like shading a pink with a darker pink, you can definitely shade it with a purple, or with a blue, any kind of like slightly closer color family, but not too close. You know, just have fun with this. There you are. And the last one is the really darker one. I don't really use a lot of this darker colors when I draw. But yeah, it depends on the light source, depends on the size of your drawing, but you get the basic idea. This is really roughy, sketchy, but you get the idea of coloring. I'm just going to go with now the illustrative style, which, well, it's kind of illustrative here because I really didn't keep this quite realistic, but I'm just going to show you how to work with different colors. So yeah, for this middle part sheet, I will go with the green range that I made. So this is made with yellow green 11. We have green 14, sorry, green 14. We have green 07, or G, I guess, but green 28. And then I don't have a darker green than the G28. 28, so I choose the Prussian blue, which is B39 for my darker spot. And this is what I talked about you like 2 seconds ago when I said you can change color family. You don't have to really work in the same family if you want. So let's go with a bit more like illustrative way of coloring. So I'm just going to start with the light one and always work the flicking motion. So this, for this girl, the light source is going to come from this side if you want, or another. Just choose like what you want. Basically, it's just like at your own taste. So yeah, I'm just going to flat all the colors, and for this one, let's say it comes from beneath, like from under her. Yeah, from under. So this means like all this, the lightest parts are going to be here, like on the under part, a bit here, like this, and not so much like above her, you know. Let's go. That paper is horrible. Take your darker, your G14, and work with the flicking motion. Like this. Baby hair. The light is coming from the right, so all of this side is going to be darker. Under layers, always. This is how you create depth when you're coloring, basically. So here it comes from this side and kind of under it, so all of these areas is going to be really darker. Flicking motion. I love the sound of Copic Markers. Ching, ching, ching. Under layers are darker. Here it's going to be really darker because the light is coming from under. The braiding is always darker. The braid, sorry, is darker in the middle, and it's a fishtail braid. So I'm just you just like coloring each each line. Like this. You take your G07 and go all over it, because this is way darker here. I think that's the wrong paper for this. I think it's the new, it's the manga deleter. This is supposed to be for inking, not for coloring, so it's gonna be a bit messy, but like this. Here is from the side, always following the lines, gradually building the colors, flicking motion. Work faster but not too fast, because you may mess up. It's a really hard tool because Copic is drawing fast. So if you want to really mix the colors, you have to work quickly. But if you work quickly, you may mess up. So it's the judgment call, I guess, and it really takes a lot of practice to really find the point where you really need to work like faster, or if you can take your time, you know. It gives a lot of practice. You really need a lot of practice if you can't really do it like in the way that you think is nice, and you just going to practice a bit more and work like little roughy sketch like this, so you can practice it. And especially the little flicking motion, you always adding more colors when you start, like from your beginning point here, that you just, and when you are flicking it, you're just like feathering the colors, and it's going to be really lighter on the other end. And my cat is yawning. He wants to get in. You see? Like when the light source is coming from this or this side, really gives like really nice edgy look, I think. And yeah, any kind of hairstyle, basically when you're coloring, you just like choose your light source, and then you choose and then you just follow the lines, basically. And if you don't have your lines like lined, like the inking, maybe just sketch them like with your tracer or any kind of stuff that you may like, you have your sketch underneath, and just like take maybe like a gray Copic markers, and you just sketch the basic lines, so you have your little guidelines if you want them. And once you have practiced a bit, you can also do this little coloring process, layering colors without the hairlines, because you already know how they work. So it's just gives, yeah, just like always, just needs time to do this. So I'm just going to finish with a bit of green here. You see the ID. I really like this hairstyle. I should really use it again. Yeah, and the last one is the manga style. And I will use again the pink one, for example. So as you can tell, this is really going to be really simple, and you can also use this part here for manga. I'm just going to use like the chisel nib, so little like reflection, big sparkly reflection here, like this. Then you take your middle RV23. You can just do this little round like precise hair reflection, and then go back with like following the lines. For example, this is really rough, but you just get the idea. This is just always going to be whether like really simple or just really more detailed. And yeah, I think that's it for this little tutorials. I'm just going to finish this manga coloring. You can also, sometimes when you draw like with manga coloring, when you coloring with manga style, you don't have to really like build the gradients. You can use a really deep different colors, really sharp like areas like this, really sharp colors. But I'm not really good like at coloring manga with Copic markers, but yeah, this is pretty really, I'm sorry. This is not really like my thing. I really more like an illustrative way, so I'm just going to stop right now because I'm just going to mess up and the paper is horrible. But you get the idea, you know. This is like my little Copic coloring process for hair, and when I use watercolors, it's essentially the same. I always like put my flat colors and then follow the hairlines and the dynamic and the flowing process and the forced lines, and you know, it's just a lot of a really long process, but I think you just need practice and just need to have fun with hairstyles and haircuts and hair kinds, hair types. So yes, I think that's it for this quick tutorials. I know it's maybe long. If you have any questions, if you want me to focus a bit more on something, if you like this, thumbs up. I think that's it. But if you have any questions, any requests, tutorial on something, maybe on like different faces and how to draw manga, how to draw realistic, how to draw chibis, for example. I don't know, just ask me anything and I will just make it. And I think that's it for this videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you very soon. Bye!